We have a lot of issues from healthcare to education to economic development that have to be worked on. Those are the things we need to be talking about. Those are not the other sound bites that gets you the hits on social media and gets people riled up. We need to get back to being an issue-focused legislative body.
Let me ask you this.
Chip on my shoulder. I got something to prove, like a gun in a holster. Loaded, ready to shoot. Got big energy. Ain't scared to dream. Got big energy. Got big energy.
You know this a different energy, right?
I'm gonna read something off, man. You got a very impressive resume. I'm just read some stuff off to you, okay? In 2016, you were named one of only two candidates in the representatives South Carolina at the United States Center for Youth Program. 2017, you graduate with honors at Manning High School. 2018, you won the Jessica Horton I'm saying that right? The Jessica Horton Outstanding New Standard Leader Award. 2019, you were selected as the Emerging Leaders Scholar for the Congress Black Caucus Foundation. And then in 21, 22, and 23, you was school. Let me start back over. 21, 22, and 23, you hold as a school board member on Clarendon County District 2 Board of Trustees. Bro, you young. Do you feel like your experience has prepared you for what you're about to experience now in politics? And what I mean by this is, are you ready for the smoke, the ugly side of politics? Because you're very accomplished. You're academic-wise, you're a very intelligent young man, 25 years old, very intelligent, got a lot, man, you got a lot under your belt than some 50-year-olds, man, to be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? But this politic game, man, is brutal. You saw the interview I did with Senator Johnson. He pretty much said it, man. It's a lot of things we talked about it earlier. They're going to start talking about your salary, your family. Nothing has to do with the issues. Yep. Are you ready for the smoke?
Yes, I am.
And how do you get prepared for the smoke?
Absolutely. Well, one way I get prepared through the smoke is two things. One is my faith and prayer. I know that when God puts a calling on my life, anything in my way, he will remove it and he will make sure that I have everything I need to get where he is destined to be. I'm a strong person of faith and a believer in God, and I know that God directs and orders all of my steps in life. So my faith keeps me grounded, one thing. The second is remembering my why. I know why I'm doing this. I know what's at stake. I know how much I love this community. I know what I can achieve in a seat such as being a state representative. I know what issues I want to work on as a state legislator. I know my why. I know what I'm getting myself into, local, state, federal experience, working with some of the people who I will be working with if elected, having those prior relationships, knowing the leadership style that I have is one in which, I'm running on moving forward together. So I know what I want to pursue in office, and I know my why, and I know what I'm doing it for. And I'm doing it for the right reason. I'm doing it because we need strong leaders in the state legislature who want to move the ball forward in making South Carolina a better place. We have a lot of issues from healthcare to education to economic development that have to be worked on. Those are the things we need to be talking about. Those are not the other sound bites that get you the hits on social media and gets people riled up. We need to get back to being an issue-focused legislative body.
Let me ask you this. You said issue-focused.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, let's be 100, right? You think people really care about the issue? It's an old saying, the lie is more sexier than the truth.
Yeah. And that's one thing that those of us who have the heart for politics and the true, genuine interest in making the community better, it's sometimes tough for us to get around all the noise, the talking about the salaries and things like that. It's hard to get around that noise, but right, it's because it's noise at the end of the day. How can talking about things that have nothing to do with making the community better, why do those issues resonate with people more than the real issues like making sure the streets are safe, making sure people have health care? We just have to be champions for the issues we care about. We have to talk in a way that people understand why this is important to them. Why is it important to expand Medicaid in South Carolina? Because we can take care of our people by making sure they have good health care, and we can make sure that that when you expand Medicaid, it's an economic booster for the local and state economy. It's a win-win for the state. Why is it important to make sure we have good paying jobs? Because we want the students who are graduating from Clarendon County School District, the same schools I attended, we want to make sure that they have a good paying job in a rural community like Clarendon so they won't have to go to another state. We need to make sure that we have good education system.
You think that's going on now?
What?
Good paying jobs so they don't have to go to another state. You think that's happening now?
I think we're progressing in that area. We have some new industry coming, but I think we can do a little bit better. I think we can do a little bit better. I want to see the population growth of Clarendon County. Every census, I want to see us growing and expanding, and I want to see good paying jobs continue to come here, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000. And guess what? Some of those do not require a college degree. So we have to make sure as a community that our citizens are prepared with the right educational experience, with the right certifications. The Career Center is doing a great job of preparing them. Let's go to the next level. Let's make sure that we have a good technical system to attract those industry, so that when they look at Clarendon and Sumter counties, and they look at Horatio and Delane and Pinewood and Manning, and they look at those areas, they say, we're going to bring that industry to that community because they have the workforce, they have the workforce that's already ready for those jobs, and those people are going to graduate from their high school, from East Clarendon, from Manning High, from Scotch Branch High, and they're going to be able to take on those good paying jobs right out of high school. College is great. I went to college, but college is not for everyone. So we have to make sure that those who do not pursue colleges have other opportunities to where their talents and their dreams can be fulfilled in another way. So that's what we need to be focused on: issues, industry, education, healthcare, and come up with real solutions on this, not pie in the sky ideas, and not pie in the sky ideas, but real solutions on how we take care of the next generation. And one of my points on my platform is progress, making progress for future generations, making progress in this moment so that we leave our community better than we found it when we passed the torch. I want to see a community that's thriving, with robust industry, with a healthcare system that's top notch, with a good education, a strong educational system, to make sure that the next generation is proud of the community and the district we left them. And that's why I'm running for office, for the next generation. In this moment, doing the business of the people in this moment, but setting our community up to be successful 40, 50, and 60 years from now.
In your honest opinion, which I'm not saying anything you say you're not being honest, I know you're being straight 100 with everything you're saying. Do you think that politicians look out for three things? Do they look out more for the citizens, themselves, or their colleagues? Yeah, you laughing. I already know the answer.
Well, I'm gonna answer it in the way I want to answer it. I'm now a politician because I'm running for office. So I'm a politician.
Oh boy, a politician.
I'm a politician. So my lifelong goal and dream has come true. I'm a politician now.
The reason why I asked that, I don't even cut you off. The reason why I asked that seriously because it was some. I know it's certain laws being passed, and right now you can't control that. And these lawmakers, they know it's bull job, but they're getting paid. They're getting paid to pass this law when they know it's bull job. And I personally feel like with the laws that they're passing, I'm not getting in, but you know where I'm going. When it affects the community, it don't bother them because it didn't affect them personally. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if it affect them personally, that's when it would change. But as long as they're getting that almighty dollar, it's going to stay the same. This episode is sponsored by Jeffrey Lampkin's Country Boy Kitchen. It's like a Sunday afternoon at Grandma's house. Visit their website at www.lordsoulfood.com for location information and to order online. Events by Sweet Pea LLC. CEO Eartha May Hughes. Our mission at Events by Sweet Pea LLC is to provide and create seamless, lasting experience. Our servers are impeccable and precise to leave every client with a smile. We will give you a lasting impression as we help your vision come alive. You can contact Eartha May Hughes at 803-983-4625. Again, 803-983-4625. And our email address is eventsbysweetpea104@gmail.com. Again, eventsbysweetpea104@gmail.com. Jerome Robinson MMA of Team Robinson MMA, a safe training environment that will enable students of all ages and backgrounds to grow physically and mentally. You can visit their website at www.imteamr.com for more information. If you're interested in being a sponsor, contact myself, Ernest Miller, at 803-565-9752. That's 803-565-9752. Or you can hit me up on my email at eaenestmiller83@gmail.com. Again, that's eaenestmiller83@gmail.com. You can also make contact with my producer, Victor Wesley of Vic West Production. His telephone number is 803-225-0021. That's 803-225-0021. Also, his email address is vicwestp@gmail.com. That's vicwestp@gmail.com.
And lobbyists and special interests have a big say in the legislative agenda. You know, they come up to the legislators and they have the influence of the purse, of the financial backing, and they say, if they write the checks, they want to help call the shots. That's just the way it goes. So I can honestly say that I believe that some of the legislation that they vote on with the guns and abortion and the anti-CRT and especially the gun bill, 18-year-olds just walk.
As a law enforcement officer, I think it's terrible.
Like, come on,
no
permit, no training,
man.
nothing. I just think it's crazy. Yeah. I just think it's crazy. We don't want to turn this into our streets into a militaristic situation, a war zone. We don't want to turn it into a war zone. I think some of them vote for it based on their voting base as well. It's also the lobbying from those organizations, but their voting base, when they call and they're angry and they say, we're going to primary you, we're going to put an opponent in your primary if you don't vote for this legislation. We're going to have such and such hundreds of thousands of dollars to kick you out of office. And that works. That gets them to say, okay, the legislation's probably going to pass anyway. Let me vote for this so I can keep my seat in this next election. I can honestly say, I'll put my hand on the Bible now, I don't lead in that way. If a vote were to come up and it would be against my conviction and my conscience, I would go home in the next election before I put my political career before the people and what's best for the community.
Even they try to slide that almighty dollar.
I would go home. If it's not going to move the state forward and it's not right for the community, If that vote costs me my re-election or election, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth a vote is not worth the future of our community, and making sure that every vote we take, every situation we handle as legislators, if it's not in the best interest and the forward-looking, cut that. Okay, all right. If it's not in the best interest of the future of the community, it will not have my support, and I will let them throw all the money they want to get me out of office if that were the case. I just don't think it's worth it. And a lot of legislators have lost their seats over votes. In this primary in 2024, the June primary, some of the female legislators in the Senate, they voted against the total ban on abortion that came before the Senate. And they knew they were in trouble. But one of them said, was it worth it? Yes, absolutely. Those are my type of people. People who know what's right for the state, do what's right, and they don't care what the consequences are.
Tuesday, we had an interesting debate with Trump and Harris, eating cats and dogs. What's your thoughts on the debate and the two candidates?
Absolutely. So I thought it was a wonderful debate for the current vice president.
I thought it was. So
And
a lot of people said
she was on her A game. She was impressive, and you
can't argue with a former prosecutor.
Absolutely,
man. You ain't gonna win that battle, bro.
You're not gonna win it.
Yeah,
and especially some of the accusations of, that she got the questions in advance. All that's baloney. Yeah. All that's baloney. That's social media stirring things up, and the people who were pushing that, the debate clearly didn't go their way, which is why they felt the need to come out with those false statements. But the vice president did an excellent job. She laid out her case to the people. She and like you said, she did it in that, like, I'm a prosecutor mindset. So this is how I would approach this. She's a sitting vice president, so she has foreign policy credentials. She has experience working with Congress to pass crucial legislation like the IRA, bipartisan infrastructure. So I just thought we saw a version of her where her experience and her knowledge really just came through, and it was displayed in a manner in which I haven't seen before. But she was on her A game. She was impressive, and I think the whole country got to see what some people knew she was capable of. As to Donald Trump, he has a lot of support, and he has a strong base of support, and he has a strong base. I mean, since 2016, he has a base of support that he can do no wrong. He can honestly do no wrong.
Why do you think that? I hear a lot of people say since he became president, financially, they're doing well. Since Biden became, it's kind of like pocket-wise, financially, it's hurting.
And you hear a lot of that.
Yeah.
Inflation. Inflation. There's a lot of factors that goes into inflation. We just came out of a pandemic. In 2020, when the market plunged, everything went down. Gas prices went down to $1 and such. We have to remember where we came from. We came out of the worst pandemic since in 100 years, and inflation is a worldwide issue.
You ain't lying.
It's a worldwide issue.
Yesterday to buy some eggs.
Yeah.
Just 6 eggs now.
Yeah.
$2.17.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though that has nothing to do with Biden, that's a lot of these stores,
Yeah.
these companies is doing that. So a lot of people,
Absolutely.
a lot of people want to blame the president for inflation.
Absolutely.
But you got to blame your local store, like your stores like Walmart or any other store. They're responsible for that.
There are a lot of factors that go into the inflation, and I think those who are trying to make a political point, they just boil it down to these simplistic arguments that don't pass the muster test. But if people in this election, I think people are going to have to look at it from a few lenses. What type of future do you want for your children, and who do you want in the Oval Office and in the White House who will pursue that future that you would want to see in your children? Who would exemplify leadership? Who would exemplify the morals and character that you want to see in the world's greatest leader? And I have my personal choice in this, and I think it's a very clear choice when you answer that question. And the vice president is talking about an opportunity economy, an inclusive economy for all, working to make sure the middle class has tax cuts, trying to bring down inflation and trying to move the country forward. The other president is talking about, tax cuts, more tax cuts for corporations and billionaires. And I just think in this election, this is about the future of our country domestically and the future of our country 40, 50 years from now, as it relates to our democracy, as it relates to, how we're seen on the world stage. And I think in this election, it's a very clear choice. I think that's what it boils down. The future. Not, don't look at the now, but that's always been my political philosophy. Don't necessarily look at the now, look at the future. What type of future do we want to build for the next generation?
What are your thoughts about energy affordability, and also what's your thoughts about the future of our air quality and climate?
I think that's an all-in-one question, because the energy sources of the future, we have to continue. The renewable sources, we have to continue to make sure we invest in wind and solar and biofuels. Those non-renewable sources, we can still use them in a more clean fashion. We can still use them. Clean coal technology is one thing that we've been tapping into, and we just have to make sure we use them in a clean way, because our environment is important. The climate is important, and climate change is real. And one thing about the climate changing is you can. This is when I need you to edit it. One thing about the climate is it is an opportunity to create jobs. Renewable sources of energy like wind and solar and biofuels, and the new sources of energy that we're tapping into, they're more climate friendly, but also they will allow us to create new green jobs for the future. And I know that this may be a controversial topic, because we go back and forth, but I think the science has been settled that the climate is an issue, and that we need to make sure that we're protecting our natural resources. We need to make sure that we're protecting our environment. Going back to my point, this is about the future. This is about the future. What type of planet do we want? Do we want one that is filled with pollution? Do we want one where that we're not thinking about the next generation? So this is an opportunity to both grow and strengthen our economy, and also an opportunity to make sure that we tap into these new sources of energy for the new jobs of the future. And on another point, I was endorsed by the conservation voters of South Carolina. And their top priority is making sure that we conserve our natural resources, that we are climate friendly for the future, that we invest in those new renewable energy sources of the future. I'm glad to have their support, because this is an issue that impacts my generation the most, because the climate crisis is one that is real, and is one my age group, and especially the generation behind me, we're going to have more of the impact than the generations in front of us. So that this is something that I'm passionate about, and I'm proud to have the conservation voters, because they know my philosophy, and they know that this is an issue that I care deeply about. So I kind of stuttered. Let me say it again. I'm honored to have the conservation voters of South Carolina support, because this is an issue that I care deeply about. And this is something, if you look at the polling, this is something that young voters care a lot about. Young voters are passionate about the climate. because it's about the future. And that's my main emphasis in my platform politically, about the future, future of the climate, future of our healthcare system, future of our education system, future of our democracy, future of our community. So when I think about the energy sector, when I think about air, when I think about the climate, as your question stated, I think about the future.
To be continued. Make sure you check out the next episode. And also you make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on my YouTube channel, The Mill Experience. And now we also on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. Make sure you download. Peace.
You can't tell me how to act. Said I can't be successful by sticking messages and rap or God's with me. Who told you being intelligent is whack? So place your bets. My faith is fresh. I'm gonna make it stretch. Cause I sat there eye to eye with the face of death. And you ain't putting work in unless you break a sweat. Bringing back a full course meal.